Everyone, Maria here from Maria Attempts It. I just changed the oil on my 2004 Ford Powerstroke 6.0 diesel. Pretty easy job. It's a messy job. I always wear goggles just so I don't get junk in my eyes when I'm underneath the truck. It's also a nice fashion statement. Gets all the guys. I always put gloves on my hands. I don't think people want to see black underneath my fingernails, especially since I work in a restaurant for my real job. And always wear some old clothes, cheap clothes, because you will definitely get oil on your clothes. Some people wear a jumpsuit to protect their clothes. And then I also have a nice piece of plywood on my gravel floor, just so oil doesn't spill out onto the driveway here. Not like you would know anyway. It's got junk all over the driveway and it's gravel. All right, this is what you're going to need for tools. You're going to need a 36 millimeter socket, or a 1 3/8 socket. That's what I used to fit a little bit tighter. I like that better to remove the oil filter cap on the housing. You're going to need a 19 millimeter socket to remove the plug, and you're going to need 15 quarts of oil, 15 W40 weight. Ford does recommend the Motorcraft brand of oil. Motorcraft is like $10 more a gallon than the Rotella T. I'm just using the T4. I guess I could splurge and use Motorcraft, but I do like Rotella. My Dodge trucks use their Rotella, and I like to have the same oil around just so I can interchange it with everything. You're going to also need a oil filter. Let's see here. Ford does recommend their oil filter. I did splurge, and I went with that. That here, it's a model number. Let me pause it here so you can get a picture of everything. So here it is here. It's the Ford Motorcraft oil filter, part number FL2016. I went with the recommended one for Ford. And you're also going to have a pan to catch all your oil in. Make sure it is at least big enough to hold 15 quarts of oil. I got this one on AutoZone. It's a 16 quart drain container, and it's literally filled to the brim. It's like I actually had to put the lid on and then wipe out the excess oil here because it was filled. And then when I dump this, I just take it to AutoZone and they'll dump it. Make sure there's just oil in it. If there's a mixture of oil and coolant or whatever other fluids you want to drain into the thing, they will not dump it. I've learned the hard way. Anyway, so take it to AutoZone, let them dump it, and give them a $5 tip. It's a very easy process here. There's the oil I use. Rotella T 15W40. I know Ford does recommend their own oil, but this truck has almost 276,000 miles on it. Got a couple Dodge trucks here with 300,000 pushing miles, and I've always used Rotella T, and I'm very happy with it. It's a cheap oil. You can buy it at AutoZone, or you can spend a lot less and pick it up at Walmart for much cheaper, or buy it in bulk at Sam's Club. Okay, make sure you get some rags to clean up your mess, and I'm going to walk you through the process of changing the oil in this thing. Again, just pretty easy job, straightforward. If this video doesn't describe properly how to do it, you can watch another YouTube video. There's a lot better mechanics than myself. I'm definitely not a mechanic, but I just play one on TV. All right, let's go with this process. All right, now when you're under here, you can loosen this up and let the drain pan catch everything, okay? Let it drain out. And then once it's draining there, I'm going to take off the oil filter housing on the top of the engine to relieve some of that pressure so it flows more evenly. Just watch out that you don't get splattered with, and make sure your pan is low enough that you have some clearance here to work. Otherwise, you're going to have to put the truck up on like some jacks. So you have a little more, if you use a bucket, you're going to have some clearance here. So now this is spring loaded here. There you go. Let it drain out here. And then when we're going to pop the old one off and the old O-ring and put a new one on. And now, let me show you a little trick here. Using a funnel here to pour the oil directly into the housing of the oil filter, just because there's more room. I use a funnel because I'm a slob and otherwise I spill it everywhere and the wind's kind of blowing, so the oil also wants to just blow everywhere. You don't have to use a funnel, but I'm not that accurate when I pour stuff. So I'm just doing it so I don't lose too much oil and spill it all over the engine bay. Now the remaining I'm going to put right into the oil fill tube here that fits. Alright, let's try this. Remember, it's 15 quarts total. I'm going to let it run for like 10-15 minutes and recheck the oil. If it's low, I'm going to top it off. If not, I'm just going to leave it. Rather err on the side of caution and have a little less oil than a little bit too much oil. So I'm going to check the oil. Pull out this long dipstick. It's a long one here. You're going to wipe it off and then put it back in and test it. Let's see here. I'm trying to do this one-handed or trying not to drop the phone here. It's not working. I don't know why I don't have free hands. That'd be so much easier. I'm just going to pause it here. Alright, checking the oil. You want to keep it between max and minimum. Seems like that's where it is, right there on the max line. So I'm not going to add any more to it. I put about 14 quarts in there. Truck requires 15. There's probably 15 in there because unless you let it drain for 2 days, you're not going to get all that oil out of there. Okay, so I'm going to put that back. Make sure everything's nice and tightened up. Nothing's leaking. That's all you have to do. Pretty easy. Just sloppy. Just make sure you have an old set of clothes that you don't mind ruining. I like gloves. I don't like oil all over my hands. Work in a restaurant. I don't think people want to see black underneath my fingernails. And then I just take my old oil to AutoZone. I let them dump it. I always give them like a $5 tip because it's a nasty job. They don't have to do it, but they do it. So that's what I do. I guess you don't have to tip them, but I always tip everyone. Don't forget to tip people that work hard. All right, have a good day. Bye.